Only a couple of feet on both sides.
Yes. Yeah, a tight fit.
And of course, the captain wasn't in charge at this time. They had someone
Yeah.
took control of it
I
while
would
it was
imagine
transiting
so,
through
yeah.
the canal.
Yeah.
So during all this time, what were you doing? While you, like, say, for example, you're going through the canal itself, what were you
I
up to?
was up topside looking
Watching.
out, watching the world go by.
Now, did you actually go into Panama? Did you get a chance to go into Panama?
We stopped on, yeah, we stopped on, after we exited the canal, we stopped for an overnight stay, I think, at, I forget the name of the town now.
So on the west side of the
Yes,
of Panama.
the west side, yes.
Okay.
But that's the west side is the, it's strange.
Why is that?
Because the Pacific side is further west than the east side,
Huh.
than the east end of the canal.
Huh.
And that's a good question to get into.
Trivial.
If you're in a bar and you want to ask them a trivia question, you say, which side of the Panama Canal is further east? West side or the east side?
It's the west side.
And it's the west side.
Huh. So then you went to Bremerton. Were you part of the decommissioning party or no?
Just through first, I was on there for 4 months. So allow a month to get up there. So about three months actually in the decommissioning regiment.
Then from there,
From there, I got to see Stockton, California.
was this the reserve fleet
Yes.
or
One of them.
something like that?
Hmm. That was the first one.
And you requested that?
No, I didn't. I wanted a ship that was going to deploy and go overseas so I could see the world.
Well, I briefly read what you wrote about your adventures in the Navy, at least the beginning, and it says something about you put in for something like that and you got stuck with shore duty. Is that the shore duty you're referring to? Because
Yes,
and it
yes.
talked about you talked about other guys who wanted shore duty and they got sea duty. And then you wrote something about, I wish I would have put something in for shore duty.
Yeah.
You know, the Army ran the same way, by the way.
The Stockton group, I was there for about 3 months, and then I asked for a transfer to the Astoria, Oregon group because I was only 60 miles from home. I'm not going to see the world. I might as well.
See your family.
Yeah.
So when you were there, did you get to Oregon? And so did you go home every day, or
No,
you just on
weekends.
weekends? Just on weekends. And how long were you there?
I was there for 3 months.
So you joined the Navy to see the world, and you basically ended up in Oregon
Yeah.
through various. All right. So then what happened after that? Where did you go?
I went from there. They called me over to the personnel office and said, Mr. West, you've been found qualified and wanted by the atomic energy people in the Navy
Huh.
to join with them. So they transferred me to the Navy Nuclear Power Training Unit in Idaho Falls.
Now, did you take a test for this? How did they determine that you were?
No, just my evaluations and how well I did on advancement for
Huh.
exams. And that wasn't much because I was well, I did get up to, on the Andromeda I got up to E5
Wow.
and stayed there for Stockton, stayed there for Astoria, and then I went to the Nuclear Power Training Unit in Idaho Falls.
So when you were in Idaho Falls, you were in E5?
When I got there, and shortly thereafter, I got my first class E6.
So you became, okay.
I was a slick arm first.
Now, how long were you there? I imagine it wasn't a short school.
Oh, at the nuclear power training unit.
Yeah.
I was there from January 8th of 1957 to June of 1960.
Yeah, like I said,
Almost
three and a half years.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of another school that's longer, but wow. So were you still? I assume you were still in E6 when you finished
Yes.
school,
Yes.
and then.
And then I went to the Enterprise.
So in the meantime, that's when you met our mom, right? Did you meet our mom there in Idaho?
Yes.
And then you got married in that time? I think so, yeah. Got married in that time. So at this point, there's you, Mom, Susan, and Brian, right?
Right.
When you finished up school, and then you went to the Enterprise based in Norfolk.
It's still in the shipyard in Newport News.
Oh.
Across the bay from Norfolk.
Oh, okay. To me, they're one and the same, but
Yeah.
So it's in the same general region.
Right. Right.
So everybody moved there with you,
Yes.
but you never lived on base housing.
No.
We discussed this the other day.
They didn't have any base housing on.
The Newport News.
Well, there was an Air Force base there, so maybe they could have put us up there.
Huh.
But
So then, did you live in? Where did you guys live? What in Newport News?
yes,
Or? Oh, okay.
Newport News. And then when they started sea trials and going to sea, then we moved over to Norfolk,
Okay.
right outside the naval base in Norfolk.
So how long were you based there, or how long did the Enterprise stay there before you actually went to sea?
Well,
Because it hadn't been commissioned yet, correct? When you were assigned, it was still.
when we moved over to Norfolk,
Yeah.
it was in commission then.
Ah, okay.
It was in commission.
But you were on it for the sea trials and all that kind of thing.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
So did you ever meet Admiral Rickover?
Not directly, no.
Did you see him?
Yes. Yes.
I am trying to think how old he was at that time. He was probably in his 60s, I imagine.
I was E6 when I went on board the Enterprise, and I made Chief Petty Officer while I was on there,
So that's E7.
and then I made Warrant Officer while I was on there.
Okay.
So I was on the Enterprise from June of '60 to January of '66.
So what, 5.5 years, approximately.
Yeah.
So that was your longest assignment to a ship in your career. Sounds like. I don't believe you were assigned so long. 5.5 years is a long time.
Yeah.
Plus, figure 3.5 years of schooling. That's 9 years of your career right there. So, now, how long before you went to sea on the Enterprise? Like when did you first depart Newport News and go? I think didn't you go on a Mediterranean? Or was that later?
We probably went down to the naval station in Cuba first.
Oh, Guantanamo Bay.
Guantanamo, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then from there, eventually we went to the Mediterranean.
Now, since you mentioned Cuba, I'm going. Let me cut here and get a new one in here, because actually that's a good place to cut.